And the Bills are moving on in the playoffs. 34-30 is your final score. Welcome into Bills Postgame Live. Maddie Glab alongside Bills legend Steve Tasker. We are brought to you by Wesley, Clark, and Peshkin. Your divorce and estate planning attorneys. Your family is our business. That was a roller coaster of a game. Too close for comfort, I think we can all agree. But hey, the Bills, I guess they like to live life on the edge. But the team who has been there before and done that would not be denied. So many veterans on this roster, so many leaders, and when they needed something to happen, especially on defense, the defense answered the call time and time again, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. And you take away the strip sack, fumble, recovery, return for a touchdown, they never get within, they never take the lead, and the Bills are never, in the kind of problem situation they found themselves in. The interceptions, the fumble, the turnovers we talked about in the pregame, you got to be a really good football team to overcome 3 of your own turnovers. And the Bills had to do that today. They came up with a 3-point win over Miami team that was more than game. The Miami came in and they went for it top to bottom. They were bringing a lot of pressure on Josh, always bringing an extra rusher. If the Bills block 5, they bring 6. If the Bills block 6, they bring 7. It was that kind of game. Bills made them pay for it early on a couple of times and missed on a number of other opportunities. The Dolphins didn't care. They were going to keep doing it. They were convinced that was the way they were going to beat the Bills, and the Bills almost helped them do it.
A couple of dropped passes that could have been touchdowns, but the Bills end up the winners in this one, a slight margin of victory, 34-30. We're going to hear from a lot of players and head coach Sean McDermott, so we're going to get right to that with Josh Allen.
Josh, you got a case of you just got to win, right? You just got to win,
yeah.
No matter how rough it was, right?
Yeah, 1 week seasons, man. That's it. Got to take it 1-0, one game at a time. Thought we did some good things today. I did some bad things today. Some stuff to clean up, some things to learn from. But we'll grow from it. It's all that matters is surviving and advancing. It doesn't matter how we win, it's if we win. And proud of our guys for playing the way they did.
What were they doing to you defensively, Josh? It seemed like the offense fell out of rhythm for good portions of that game.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing press man. They were spying me. They were doubling stuff. I thought their front did a pretty good job, maybe blocking up some of the running lanes. But again, our guys found a way to win. Our defense stepped up. I'm so proud of our offensive line and our running backs on that last drive. It's not easy to run when they know you're running it in those situations. So for Motor to go put his head down, follow the big boys up front, go win a game like that. I don't know if we've done that this year, so that was really, really good to see.
You took a lot of deep shots. Was that based on just on their coverage, what they were doing, and you thought you had the opportunities there?
Yeah, we definitely had some opportunities. Wanted to take advantage of that. If they wanted to play, no safety high, they played a lot of zero today, which we kind of expected. I thought we had some good answers, some really good plays, and again, some not so great ones that we got to clean up, and that's on my shoulders.
You guys had a little bit of a lull kind of in the second quarter, early third. When did you feel like you guys snapped out of it, or was there a moment that you can kind of go back to and say, like, okay, that's when we got back to being ourselves?
At halftime, just talking to ourselves, settling down, just trying to reset and refocus. The turnovers, they hurt us, really let them back in the game. Up 17-0. With chances, and I give them the ball, 2 times and give them a touchdown. So it's just things you can't do, and you can't expect to win like that. So some stuff to clean up.
Can you speak on that 3rd down and 10 catch from Khalil Shakir? He hasn't seen a lot of action this year, but boy, he came up in a big moment there.
Yeah, that was a big momentum shift for us. I know he's a rookie, but we got a lot of faith in him, a lot of trust in him to make some plays for us, and he's going to continue to do so.
John, speaking of that faith and that trust, what was it like to have John Brown, Beasley, Gabe, Steph, all those guys out there all at one time for you?
Yeah, it felt very comfortable. You saw it. Steph, or it was Cole's first playoff touchdown, I think, in his career. That's what Kevin Kearns just said. So that was pretty fun to get the ball back to him. Obviously, bouncing around, bringing him back, and just being able to run some of our old stuff, and he remembers it and was able to run it and execute it. So it's good to have vets like that.
How much did the interception bite here? How much did that kind of swing things for you?
It's huge, and turnover margin, especially in the playoffs, is so big. That really helps us out. It bails us out. I can't thank our defense enough for playing the way that they did, and I didn't put them in some great situations today, and I know that, and they know that, and I got to be better for them.
Josh, the playoffs can be grueling under any circumstance, especially, if you want to make a long run. But given what you guys have gone through the past couple of weeks, that adds, an additional element of emotion and, it's draining, right? How do you guys kind of find the strength to keep going and what you hope is a long postseason?
Yeah, we set goals at the beginning of the year. We've got one goal in mind, and that's to win a world championship. And to do that, you gotta win the playoffs. So we're looking forward to our next matchup. I don't know who it's going to be against, but I know it's here. We're going to need Bills Mafia in the building, being loud and disruptive. I thought they did a good job tonight and forcing a couple false starts and delay of games. That's such a huge momentum shift for us. When it's 4th and 1, you cause a delay of game, and now it's 4th and 6, and it changes the complexity of that call. So shout out to our fans.
How big was the after you got back in the lead after the Elam interception? How big was that next drive when you made it a 10-point game? Because it seemed like that was finally where you regained grasp of the game.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's the playoffs. Everybody here is good. Every team that we play, it's going to be their biggest game, our biggest game of the season. So nothing to hold back. And again, I thought they played pretty good tonight, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They did some things that caused us some problems. So hats off to them. But again, proud of how our guys played.
Josh, you mentioned in that locker room right now, knowing how hard fought this game was, and this is obviously just a lot.
Yeah, again, we understand the seriousness of the playoffs. It's win or go home. And again, guys just wanting to win and not hang up the cleats, just yet. We, like I said, we got some goals to accomplish, and guys in that locker room love each other. They work extremely hard to go out there and execute and try to accomplish those goals that we set.
Josh, you mentioned some of the conversations at halftime to reset, but then the first drive, the second half, the turnover there. What were the conversations like right after that on the sideline?
Yeah, you can't focus on that. The play happened. You got to move on. I think having the leadership, in that offense, whether it be Steph or Mitch or Dion or Roger, just coming up to me and just say, forget it. We got to go. And just understanding, you can't let your last play dictate your next play. So, again, got to be better in those situations, but we were able to find a way.
What did you think of Skylar Thompson's play today?
I thought he played pretty well. Our defense is pretty dang good. He gave him a shot to win a game, and that's all that matters.
I know you would prefer it to be a lot less stressful at the end, but is there something to be said about winning a close game, especially in the playoffs? Is that a skill that a team can have?
I guess so. At the end of the day, that's all that matters is winning the football game. If it's by 1, it's by 100, and again, these are 1-week seasons from here on out. Everything you got, it's like I said, win or go home.
That's the most involved we've seen Gabe in a while. In the passing game, you were going to him early, you went too late, big play. What was it about seeing him as often as you did as an answer to him?
Yeah, he works his tail off. In practice, he works extremely hard. He's been so reliable for us, and again, just giving him some opportunities to make some plays, and he came up with some big ones tonight.
You mentioned Khalil and Khair. Also, you mentioned the production from the running game. To get such contributions from rookies in such a big game when necessarily you're not at your best, how big of a boost is that for the team and just an overall confidence boost for those players?
Yeah, at this point in the season, they're not rookies anymore. They've seen enough action. They understand the gist of what's going on. And again, I credit our leadership, whether it's in the DB room, our receiver room, our running back room, for getting some of those guys ready to play today and helping us win a football game.
You ever seen Mitch that needed? You ever seen Mitch that needed?
No, I don't. You don't really see that, but I love him. I really do.
Did you get a chance to go ahead? Did you get a chance to spend some time with Demar when he was at the facility?
Yeah, I got to say hello to him and his family, and obviously a big old hug. And there's a big line of guys ready to love up on him. So it was, blessing come true to see him back in the facility. Thank you guys. Go Bills.
Awesome that Josh Allen got to say what's up to Demar Hamlin when he was at the facility yesterday. Hopefully we see more of him in the future here at One Bills Drive. We're going to head into our Microsoft Surface Player Spotlight. This week's Player Spotlight is presented by Microsoft Surface. Microsoft Surface is the official tablet and sideline technology of the Buffalo Bills, and today we're giving it to All-Pro Milano. He earns All-Pro honors, and then he goes out and gets 10 tackles and 2 sacks against the Dolphins. So why are we highlighting him today?
Well, he stepped up and played at the moments when they needed it. And let's face it, as it turns out, every possession was huge in this game.
Yeah.
Milano played extremely well. The second sack he got really didn't look like it was gonna be, but he got a hold of Skyler and got him on the ground. Skyler made something happen, but actually his foot was down before he let loose of the ball. And Milano, once again, the thing that has set him apart time and time again as a Bills and a linebacker is the guy just doesn't miss very many tackles. He really doesn't. When he gets his hands on you, you're down. And there's a lot to be said for that. And once again, he proves it here on his second sack. Just huge plays all over the field, great in coverage, great in pursuit, and just one of those guys that, as an all-pro should, he shows up every snap and every game.
The defense held the Dolphins to just 231 total yards. They had 11 quarterback hits and 4 total sacks. In addition to the 2 interceptions, they're a big part of this win today. So let's hear from some of our defensive players, Dean Marlowe and Tre'Davious White.
Schematically, I wasn't in the right position, to be honest. And I knew I messed up, but I can only try and make the best out of the situation. And I think my instincts kind of kicked in to get back where I needed to be. And I just, I seen him quickly throw the ball, and I just put my hands up and grabbed it.
After the way that first half ended, I'm catching up and all that, it felt like the defense kind of grabbed this game by the throat in the third quarter. Really, I mean, that kind of stopped what was happening and gave your offense a chance. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it starts during the week, man, and we make sure that we play as one heartbeat. And when things go wrong, we go as best, as we say in the defensive room, that our team is led by our defense. And any team that has a strong defense, gives himself a chance to win the ball game. So we just told each other, hey, we got to get as many takeaways as possible, and we did a good job.
To go back to the spots of that interception, what do your coaches say to you on the sideline after that? Then of obviously making a huge play, or your teammates even?
Man, just say, hey, like you see ball and you get ball, and but
right,
I'm living right. Got to be living right. Just for me to be schematically not in the right position, but for me to kind of have a panic mode and get back and make a play. Hey, like if you're not in the right position, you better make a play. You better make it, and I made it.
Trey, it feels like you've taken Kyer kind of under his wings, or under your wings since he's gotten here, and there were multiple big plays from him today. What did you see in his game, and how big of a step is this forward for him?
I mean, Kyer is just he's such a student of the game. Just the way that he attacked the week, coming in on off days catching balls. So him catching that pick is something that he's been waiting on. But he's a student, man, and he really wants it. His desire to be the best that he can be is next to none. The way he prepared, the way he come in and take care of his body as a rookie, man. The success that he had today is not a surprise. Just the way he prepared himself throughout the week and weeks prior to be in this moment and be ready. So I'm definitely proud of him.
Trey, you were in the photo with Demar yesterday at the facility that Matt Milano posted. Looks like you guys were kind of embracing a little bit. Could you just describe that moment and what it was like and to share that with him?
Yeah, for him to be in the building, man, it brought smiles and happy tears to everybody in the building. Just to see him walking around healthy, recovering well. We sat next to him all around the facility and just kind of asked him, a couple questions on how he was feeling and all that kind of stuff. And just all we needed was to see his face and see him walking around. Once we knew he was healthy, we kind of had a weight lifted off our shoulders. But then actually seeing him in person, it was amazing, man. Every guy on the team just, was so happy to see him.
Trey, could you recall that experience? You said previously that you're really affected by the injury, and just being able to see him, was that like a breath of fresh air for you?
Oh, for sure. I got my hug, though. I know that. But it was good to see him, see his mom, see his dad, just just overfilled with joy, man. Just to see him. We was doing the walkthrough, and he was just sitting down in the end zone by himself with his parents. And before we went out to do the walkthrough, everybody went over and just talked to him for a minute. And it was like Dean said, it was refreshing, man. Just to see him, just to see the smile, and just to touch him. You know what I mean? Just to see what we experienced the last 2 weeks, man. So it was great to see him. It gave us a lot of juice too. So that was a great sight to see.
Trey, how do you describe the team's energy after getting to see Demar yesterday?
Like I said, I think, I know it lifted our spirits for sure. It gave us a lot of juice. We were even juiced up for the walkthrough. That's something that we never juiced up for, but to see him and just to see him walk and just to see him smile, man, it was a great day for us.
The playoffs can be a grueling stretch, even under normal circumstances. Given what you guys have been through the last 2 weeks, and both of you could answer this, how do you kind of find that strength to keep pushing forward, even kind of, this extra emotional pull?
I think when everything starts up top, and Terry to Brandon to Sean, they're great leaders, and I think they get us mentally, physically prepared to go through trials and tribulations, throughout life, and football has a lot to do with life and the lessons you learn and all that things, but it's just. We were able to just come together. I mean, no one is ever in this together, no matter what, a team, a company. It's just when things are tough, you got to lean on people. You got to. No person is human, and I'm superhuman. Sorry, and we all need people. So, just the great leadership from up top and the leaders on our team. It's a domino effect, and we all trust in one another, and we believe in one another.
How about you, Trey?
Just to piggyback off what he said, we got great leaders at the top, great support system around the building. We've been through a lot, as a team this year, just from 2 storms to Dawson Knox losing his brother, to the top shooting, to Josh Allen hurting his elbow, to losing Von Miller, losing Micah. So it just shows you the resiliency we have as a group. But it takes the whole building, to not just the players, the support staff, our people that cook us food in the cafeteria. They're so great. They lift us up in the morning, too, with their energy. So, it's not only the players, but, it's the support system that we have around the building that, just make this thing roll. Because it's just not us. We need a lot of support, from talking to people to just leaning on each other. Our strength staff is great. Our nutrition staff is great. Our training staff is great. So it's just like, it's not just the players, it's the whole building. And we're one big family. So we go through everything together, and we lift each other up and through good times and bad times. So
right on the back end today, just not that you're not super competitive every week, but there just seems to be an extra dose of scrappiness on your guys' part on the back end, not just with clean pass breakups, but breakouts, to force incompletions. Can you just maybe talk about the collective effort there?
Yeah, our coach, Coach Butler, if you ever see him on game day, he's so scrappy, doing practice and everything. So it's just like Dean said, it starts at the top, man. Our coach is so fiery, and he's so competitive, so he breathes that into us. So we know going into the game, Waddle and Hill, those guys are the best in the league, so we got to match their intensity, and we knew that we're going to have to go up there and face them and make it tough for them, knowing that we're not going to completely shut them out. Just make it extremely tough on them, just land on them, just try to make it as tough as we can for them. And fortunate enough, we were able to get our hands on some footballs today and knock them out.
Last week, either Sunday or Monday, Sean said that he thought the last game was your best game of the season coming back. Now to have some big plays today to build on top of that, just how are you feeling about where you're at and what you did today?
We winning, so it makes it much better. But like I said, weeks previous, man, this is a long journey for me. Still getting back, still rehabbing it, still doing everything I can to stay on top of the rehab process and getting ready for games and practicing my craft. So it's something that I'm gonna have to attack. This is my new normal now, so hopefully I can continue to do what I'm doing. And the training staff has been great. Those guys helping me out and continue to rehab my knee to make sure I'm ready for practice, make sure I'm ready for the game. So this is pretty much a two-year thing, and went into it knowing that, but I wanted to attack it with me coming back in 1 year and being who I am. So it's a fun process at the back end, but I mean, I've been doing the best I could, and I've been having help along the way. So those guys have been making it real great for me.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, that's Dean Marlowe and Tre'Davious White, a big part of today's game, of today's win. It was awesome to see the defense step up when the offense really needed it. When you needed a 3-and-out, when you needed an interception, the defense was there in the second half to hand the ball back to the offense. Now, we kind of looked at the possessions that the offense had during Trey and Dean's interview. The offense had 16 possessions. They scored on 37% of those drives. They usually average 45% score percentage per drive, field goals or touchdowns, so they were well below their average today. But when you have 16 possessions and you're only able to score on six of those, that tells a story of what the Bills kind of need to patch up here in this week before they face another good team heading into Highmark Stadium.
Certainly when you have a lot of possessions, you can kind of chalk it up to your own defense a little bit too. The Dolphins had possessions of 59 seconds of, they had 30 seconds, 22 seconds, 17 seconds on a punt. I mean, it was just, 53 seconds after a kickoff. 1 minute, 17 seconds. I mean, there were some very short
possessions, for sure.
Possessions for the Miami offense, particularly in that first half. And the Bills were doing the same thing. In fact, when the Bills turned it over 3 times, one of them led directly to points on the sack strip fumble. This defense was really put in a bind, and the offense needed help from the late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, until deep in the second half. The offense was absolutely struggling, really struggling. Couldn't get a first down, struggling to move the football effectively, and really was their own worst enemy. The defense came up, showed up, and didn't let this game get out of hand. Certainly they gave up a lead, but that was when on a sack strip fumble touchdown. So the defense did their part of it, no question about it. They came up big, and the guys in the back end were really a part of it, no question. Waddle and Tyreek were always going to be a factor, and they were at times. I don't know why they were dropping balls today, but they did. Maybe it's something because we've been struggling with Gabe Davis and some of the Bills receivers, even Dawson Knox and Shakir dropped balls today. There's something in the air. I don't know. Both teams benefited and were hurt by drops. But you got to give credit to the defense. There was also some really good pass to breakups, not only by Kaiir Elam, but also Tre'Davious White on a long ball. Also Taron Johnson as well. So big day for the Bills defense. I thought they really stepped up in a game where you needed them to be really strong. They did. They showed up.
Josh Allen gave a shout out to the offensive linemen on that final drive when they ran the ball to run the clock out. So let's get to Deion Dawkins and Mitch Morse, who are on the podium answering some questions.
Can you remember a time that you've been so fired up on the football field when you had that interaction protecting Josh?
No. But I don't. It's not making it anything bigger than it was. We talked afterwards. Actually, I have a lot of respect for the way he plays. He was a competitive guy. Tempers flare in this game. We had our moment, and then it was mitigated, and we were able to continue playing. And but no, I've never been. No.
When you see your quarterback, for lack of a better phrase, in trouble like that, what's the thought process of an offensive lineman?
I mean, in the moment, you kind of lose consciousness for a little bit. I mean, that's your guy, it's your quarterback, right? And that's you just want to be there for him, and it escalated like you saw. But I'm not going to make it too big of a thing. Like I said, we chatted afterwards, and it was more than amicable. It was just, I have admiration for the way he plays and, the competitive nature he plays at. So go from there. All right.
Yo, he cut you right off.
That's fine. He had to get his question in. I appreciate it.
Hey, what's your question, bro?
How did you guys stay positive in the middle part of the game when the offense wasn't doing as well as it was in the game?
We just tapped into our pro ability just to focus on what we can and control what we can. In a playoff game, we expect it to be an up and down battle. We expect it to be, elite on elite. So, it's not supposed to be perfect. Games and like that, should honestly be every playoff game. It should be as hard as it's supposed to be, uncomfortable, and an up and down battle. But you know, like for us, like we just have to just focus on ourselves and clean up a bunch of like little things that could turn into big things. But the good thing is that we understand what's ahead of us, and we understand what we did wrong and what we did right. So we're going to take it, craft it, and make it better.
Dion, I know it's hard to win in this league, especially in the playoffs. Do you think the feeling is excitement, relief, a little bit of both? I mean, that was right to the end.
Yeah.
What do you sense the team's feeling right now?
I mean, honestly, man, it's a playoff win, you know, and like not to make it bigger than anything, but it's a playoff win, and it's hard to win in the regular season, and it's extremely hard to win in the postseason. So we're taking it as a beautiful playoff win. We're leaving the locker room today in this press conference with a W and not an L.
We haven't seen a 100-yard day from Gabe Davis since week 5. Is that just a playoff game that we saw today?
Shoot, it's a everybody play their best ball, you know, and Gabe is a gamer, you know, and he's a player, and he's a baller. So, you know, hopefully many more to come.
Mitch, with some all right, Dion Dawkins bragging on his guy, Gabe Davis. It was good to see him get over 100 receiving yards and get into the end zone, as well as a couple other Bills. Stephon Diggs also getting over 100 receiving yards. We thought heading into this game that we were going to see Josh Allen throw the rock, and that's exactly what he did. 3 passing touchdowns, 352 passing yards. He now has multiple touchdowns in every single career start against the Dolphins, breaking the record. So he has that now. He's also had over 300 passing yards and over 3 passing touchdowns in the last 3 straight playoff games. He's one of 2 players to do that. So there were some drops from some of the wide receivers, but they also had a lot of big catches. They had a lot of big plays. Josh Allen aired it out. Ken Dorsey dialed up some deep shots there for the Bills today.
23 completions out of 39 attempts. 23 for 15 yards per completion. That's a function of the pressure that the Dolphins really were trying to bring. There's no question the Dolphins had a plan, and it was to pressure Josh Allen to getting rid of the football now. If he didn't throw it, he was going to go down. And they had enough answers early on to make him hurt. And then the Dolphins adjusted, and the Bills couldn't. They couldn't find the guy quick enough. Josh, couldn't get out of the pocket, couldn't escape pressure. He didn't hurt the Dolphins today with his legs, with the pressure and the man coverage in the back end like he usually can. And it cost the Bills a lot of opportunities, and it also led to a couple of the throws. I think the one throw that he wishes he had back was the deep one that went over the head of John Brown on the throw, and he got returned all the way out to the 40-yard line. The other 2, I can see, it wasn't a big deal, So the other 2 didn't upset me too much, and even that one, if somebody makes a tackle, it's like a punt. So, the Dolphins played extremely well. That was their plan. But to have him throw for 352 yards on just 23 completions, those are big numbers.
It's not a secret weapon, but it is their big weapon, is Josh Allen's arms and some of those wide receivers. All right, let's head to Gabe Davis and Cole Beasley, who are on the podium answering some questions.
And go, or what did you do there?
Yeah, it's called a juke route in our offense. And, my whole career I've ran a lot of escape routes or whip routes and a lot of drag, so I try to marry them up and just gave them a little stop and go.
Well, your first postseason touchdown, how did that feel?
Yeah, it's about time. It only took me 11 years, so I'm just happy it could come in today's game and I could just contribute.
Gabe, what is like, man, in the playoffs again to start off where you left off in the playoffs, making plays the way you did today?
It feels great. You know how important these games are. It's a one and done, around this time. So just be able to contribute and help my team win. I mean, especially in these big moments, it's awesome.
Gabe, could you talk us through the last touchdown? Was it look like cover 2? Were they?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it looked like cover 2. I knew I was going to be one-on-one with the safety. Just had to beat him to the back corner.
And then you had to get the feet down there, or was that?
Yeah, it was kind of a tightrope. Yeah, I didn't get on 21's toes all the way. I kind of just cut it a little early and just, trusted in Josh to put the ball right where it needed to be.
You had the one catch where you had to kind of literally slide your arm under the ball there in the middle of the field. I know there were a lot of lobbyists on your behalf to challenge the play, but were you thinking I got to slide my arm on the? Are you thinking in that instant you got to do that?
Yeah, the guys get on me all the time the way I frame the ball sometimes, and that's a big. I mean, I'm comfortable using that type of way to catch the ball. So I knew I was going to be able, as long as I can get to it, I knew I'd be able to get my hand underneath and secure the catch.
Cole, Josh said that the Dolphins made it pretty clear in about the second quarter that Steph wasn't going to beat them. Having been in the room once before and now back again, can you just speak to the other guys stepping up when clear? They said, all right, go ahead. You guys are going to have to beat us with Cole and Gabe, and you guys did it.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. You know, we got to be there for him and you know, just give Josh easy throws. You know, they're going to try to take Steph away. I mean, he's a big-time player, and, you know, he's our number one guy. And, you know, if you're going to give him one-on-one coverage, he's going to eat you alive. So when it's our chance to take advantage, you know, we got to do so.
Obviously, I don't know what your perspective is running downfield, but they were going to bring the house and whatever the consequences were. You know, they're going to, we give up some big plays, we give up some big plays. You know, just kind of, what did you think of how tough was that, or was the challenge of trying to make them pay?
Yeah, you know, we knew that was kind of one of the things that they like to do, and I feel like they did it a lot more early than they did later. In the second half, they kind of switched it up a little bit. And then they got back to it towards the end, but you know, that's something that we should be able to take advantage of, and I think we did for the most part today.
Paul, just coming back here and being able to make some big contributions today in a playoff game, what has that been like for you emotionally?
Man, it's been a ride for sure. It's been a tough year for me, just, you know, being at home and watching, and then, you know, coming back, and I kind of got to play a little bit the 3 games in the season, but it wasn't as much as maybe I'd like. So I still feel like I'm kind of getting in the groove, but really I'm just trying to enjoy it. Perspective changes a lot, you know, when you're in that situation. So I'm just happy to be here with guys like Gabe, and I mean, he was calling me the whole time I wasn't here, but, you know, I missed him so much. It's not the same, you know. So it's just good to be back here with the guys, and I'm just, you know, trying to enjoy every moment.
Gabe, what has it meant to have him back?
It means everything. I mean, I was blessed my rookie year to not only be around Cole, but Smoke, Diggs, Dre, you know, Isaiah, those guys early on. I had great players in front of me to learn from. And, you know, and Cole was always on my side from day one. Treated me just like everybody else and always showed love to me, and always expressed how good of a football player he thought I was, and gave me the confidence to go out there and play. So, you know, I know he's my boy for life, and I love him.
There were, you know, you're in control of this game, seems like, you know, 17-0, and moving the ball consistently, and then there was like, you know, 6 drives in a row where one thing and another, you don't get points. You know, kind of what was the feeling on the huddle or on the sidelines about getting over the hump?
Yeah, that's just playoff football, you know, for the most part, and all the games that I've played in the playoffs. I mean, I don't even know if we've had a blowout. So, you know, the thing is, you got to keep the foot on the gas. You can't ever get complacent. You got to keep playing consistent, and we were a little inconsistent tonight, and we can't do that going forward.
All right, Cole Beasley knows that they've got to change some things heading into this next game because it's only going to get tougher for this team. We're not sure who they're going to play yet in the divisional round, but we'll find out later this evening. Steve, I want to ask you about the offense as a whole and really the difference from that first quarter, that second quarter to the second half of the game. They did start out with the turnover on downs on that first possession, but then they went touchdown, field goal, and it seemed like they were rolling. It seemed like this could be a blowout. It seemed like this could be exactly the same game that we saw against the New England Patriots the last time the Bills played a wild card game in Highmark Stadium. But then the tides changed and things shifted and turnovers started to happen. Was Miami playing the Bills any differently because they knew that cover 0 was coming and they hit on that in the beginning, but then it seemed like at times they also struggled? Yeah,
it did, and I think the Miami Dolphins were wise to kind of hang in there with it. They knew they might get nicked and give up a big play, but they had to keep going. And as long as the game, and it looked like it was going to get out of hand quick, as you said, up at the end of the first quarter, early in the second, it's 17-0 or 17-3, and the Dolphins are just trying to get something going offensively. they were wise to kind of hang in there and say, listen, this is it. We got to do this because it'll give us an opportunity for a big play, and it certainly did. The sack, strip, fumble, those are always huge. When you get a guy free in on the quarterback, that can happen. The long interception that happened and a good return. And then the other interceptions as well that, once in a while you get a tipped interception, that kind of thing. It all goes into big play. That's why Josh has got 352 yards on only 23 completions. It's a big play both directions. But a big play for the offense, that's awesome. You're thinking you're rolling and all that. But the thing is, the defense can pull one of those too. And a sack, strip, fumble is a huge turnaround. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you gamble defensively. Mm-hmm. You're going to look bad, then you're going to look good. It's a game of extremes. And this game certainly played out exactly like that on the Miami defense, Buffalo offense side of the ball.
Yeah, that's why it was back and forth. They stuck to their guns, the Miami Dolphins did on defense. Even though the Bills had some success, they kept going at it. Then they were able to find some success. One guy that found success in the end zone today, it was Dawson Knox. He's had 5 straight games with a touchdown. We need more from him in the playoffs because we love when he scores. Let's go to Dawson Knox, who was in the locker room answering some questions after this win.
Dawson, can you just walk us through that touchdown play in the first quarter there?
Yeah, that was super exciting. It was supposed to be kind of a quick hitter, where he hits me in the flat pretty quick. The DN peeled with me. I think Josh got some pressure, made him roll out. Just another incredible play by him, put it where only I could get it. Just looked over to the ref, thankful that I got 2 feet in. I tried to even get a hand down to kind of add to that, but just another amazing off-schedule play by Josh.
Did you think you were in? Did you think you had?
I thought I was. I thought I was on the second one, too. That's a whole different story. But yeah, it's always fun setting the game off with a touchdown.
Well, since you brought it up, what happened on the second one? What did you think?
I mean, this league's been around, 100-something years. It's like we still don't know what a catch is. I thought it was no question. When they reviewed it, I was like, maybe they're reviewing if Josh was passing line of scrimmage. Even looking at it, my right hand didn't move off the ball, so even if the ground wasn't there, it didn't move. But who knows? Maybe they saw something that I didn't feel. But whatever's called is called, so we just had to move forward.
This seems you guys have been through so much adversity this season, and even just in this game, the ups and downs. How did you guys manage to stay the course and get through with a win in this game?
Yeah, it's just about treating each play like it's the only play. You can't look back at the last possession or the last play and let it beat you again. That's a hole you can just dig yourself in. So just having a positive mindset, not riding the roller coaster, staying consistent, not getting too low in the bad points, not getting too high in the good points. Just kind of taking each play as a life of its own.
With that, what did it seem like they were adjusting to kind of slow you guys in the second quarter for a bit?
They started going a more deep coverage zone, kind of limit us to, staying in front of those safeties. But with the weapons we have, with Diggs, Gabe, Cole Beasley's coming alive, which was fun to watch. Our running backs ran their tails off. We love being a versatile offense. So it was fun kind of spreading the ball around today.
I know you talked about
423 total yards from the Bills offense today. That's a big number. They converted 56% of their third down opportunities and were 75% in the red zone. You love to see that. I'm sure Sean McDermott loves to see it as well. We've been hanging on for him, so here he is.
Good to get a win. Battle, give credit to the Dolphins. They battled, they took the ball away. They're a tough football team. Give credit to their coaching staff and their first year. They've done a really good job. Like I said, good to get a win. Our guys hung in there. A lot we can take out of this game and learn from as we head into next week. So with that, I'll turn over to your questions.
Hey, Sean, 17-0, then you had a run on offense. What did Miami change up, or was it self-inflicted?
I just think overall we got to do a better job of at that point, up 17. I think it was 17-zip, and we turned the ball over. So at the end of the day, you turn the ball over, you die normally a pretty quick death. And when you turn the ball over, I think we had three turnovers, one for a score, and then we had the big punt return in there mixed in there as well. So not very good complimentary football.
Generally speaking, when you go up 17-0 as early as you guys did, is it difficult to keep the guys up mentally, ready, sharp, or how do you handle that from a coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and that I'm very aware of that. And you watched, the game last night. I didn't stay up to watch it all, but the way that game was trending, and then the result, right, the end result. So I give our guys credit, man. They hung in there and they figured out a way to get a win, and that's what I think one of the things they've been really good at this year. But we definitely have a lot to take out of this game and learn from.
Joe, you used a couple of timeouts late defensively in the second half. Were you just in defenses that you didn't like at the time? Or?
Yeah, just with what they had out on the field and what we were in, I wanted us to talk about it a little bit there. We had the guy running wide open there a little bit, and one of them that got thrown down the field, I think it was, and ended up being incomplete. So wasn't ideal. We got to do a better job there.
Sean, yeah, Steph was hurting early, and then they kind of made a commitment to shut him off.
Yeah.
Speak to the job the rest of your receiving corps did to kind of pick up that slack.
Yeah, I praise them for. And Cole came back. A lot of them came back after some early plays, I would say, Chris, that didn't go their way and hit the reset button, whether it was Cole, Shakir, they all contributed down the stretch, which is what we needed. And that's hard to do in terms of the reset button. But our guys are mentally tough. They've shown that. And when the game doesn't start the way you want it to in terms of an individual player in the first quarter, hey, how do you get yourself back? And they did that.
John, the moment from Kyer Elam moving off the pass.
Yeah.
Vital, I'm sure.
I thought he did some really good things in the game. The interception, executing the technique, and then the play on the fourth down, the same fourth down that was referenced earlier. We came back and I think he knocked the pass down over there on their sideline. So I thought he did some really good things, and he tackled in the run game also.
You mentioned Shakir, that catch on that 3rd and 10. How critical of a catch was that? And for someone who hasn't seen extensive time this season to come up with such a big play in a critical time, how great was that to see from a rookie?
Are you talking about his catch?
Shakir's catch on the 3rd and 10 over the middle where he kind of contorted his body to extend the drive.
Oh, yeah. That was a big catch, and we got a lot of trust in him. He's got good hands. He's a good football player. He's off to a good start, and I think he wanted that one, from early in the game back. I think that first one was before half, maybe there. We could have put some points on the board more than we did. So again, the game ebbs and flows, and our guys, time after time, have shown their mental toughness and the ability to reset.
You mentioned Kyer and Khalil and also James, just the contributions overall from the rookie class today in the playoff game.
Yeah, they adjusted. Kyer, James, we're counting on those guys, and it didn't used to be that way when you're a young player. Most of the young players years ago never played, or maybe your first-round pick played. And so now, the day and age of the NFL is these young players are going to be counted on to play and contribute.
Tre'Davious, we've talked to you quite a bit about him, and he's talked about sort of the journey he's on. But it appears the last few weeks in particular, he's rounding into form. I know you don't have the benefit of having watched the game already on tape, but kind of getting that sense that the old Tre'Davious in some ways is coming back?
Yeah, he's worked hard. He really has. I give credit to our training staff as well. But his mindset appears to be in a totally different space right now. He's confident, making plays on the ball, and I would say our secondary made some key plays on the ball. Taron Johnson is another one that comes to mind, Kyer, and that's important. You got to be able to make plays on the ball, and we're starting to do that.
Hey, Sean, with Dane, he went out earlier.
No.
He went out earlier.
Who was it?
Dane.
Yeah.
Could he have returned? I know he was questionable.
I feel like he could have. Nate said he could have. And so we'll just see where it goes this week here.
The playoffs can be grueling under normal circumstances. Obviously, everyone on this team has been through a lot the last 2 weeks. I guess, how do they find the strength to keep going for what you hope is a long run?
Yeah, you got to want it. I mean, you got to want it. This is what we work for. This is what you train for in the off season. This is what the regular season's for, is to get yourself into the playoffs. And now these are every game is that's the season. In the span of 4 quarters or overtime. So this is what we work so hard for all year.
John, you had a series in the fourth quarter where first and second down, there were incomplete verticals to Gabe. Was that an issue of liking the matchup and wanting to go there, or What did you think about that particular sequence there?
Yeah, I'm sure Doris will want that one back. Didn't feel great about that one, just in terms of the efficiency overall there. Just again, that's one of the areas we can learn from.
What you guys have been through overall this season, especially the last couple weeks, have you seen it kind of galvanize the group and maybe help them in these moments of adversity out here?
Yeah, I mean, we have a group of guys that they love to compete. I think that's the start of it, and we've been through games before like this that have ebbed and flowed, and that's really the model in the NFL. I mean, again, I mentioned the game last night, and so games are going to be close, and you've got to be able to be at your best when they are close, and we continue forward.
How much of Kyrie's success in this game is a product of the way that he's worked while he's been kind of waiting for that opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, there's two ways to handle that. You can get your, put your chin in your chest and mope around, or you can do something about it. And I think Kyrie really handled that well through the body of the season when he wasn't getting maybe the reps he wanted to get, and he stayed true to being a team guy. And it's a test of your character at the end of the day, and your teammates are watching. And I thought he handled it well, and now he's getting a chance to play. And when you do play, as someone is talking about young players, when you get your opportunity, you got to be ready to go.
How important was it to limit the explosive plays from Tyreek?
Yeah, that was huge. I think they had one, maybe two. So just overall, good job by the secondary there, keeping them in check best we could. I mean, they're really good, really fast.
Sean, we saw pictures on that Milano social media of Demar being in the locker room. I'm just curious from your perspective what it was like. I know you've been in touch, you've seen him, but to have him back in the building for the first time. Yeah,
it was great having him. He came to walk through yesterday, along with his parents and his little brother, which was great to see him. And word traveled fast because by the end of walkthrough, everyone had gotten down there to say hello, and he was trying to, being the team guy that he is, trying to stay under the radar, and he was kind of all the way down the one end zone there. And but yeah, good to see him back in the building, and good to have his parents there as well.
Sean, what did you think of the performance of Dawson Knox? This was 5 straight games with a touchdown reception. In the last 3 years, he scored the first touchdown in the playoffs for you guys.
Yeah, he continues to play at a high level, and I know he wants that one back from the middle part of the game there, and he'll make those going forward. Just have a lot of confidence in Dawson. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that was Bills head coach Sean McDermott. Again, we do not know who the Bills are going to play in the next round of the playoffs. We just know it'll be here at Highmark Stadium, and the Bills will be playing in it. So, with what we know, Steve, what do the Bills need to patch up? What pieces do they need to pick up before they take on a good team, whoever it may be?
Right. Well, first thing they got to do is make sure they're healthy. That's first and foremost. Get the guys. It looked like they came out pretty clean today. It looks like, and depending on how Isaiah McKenzie bounces back, Jordan Phillips may be able to get back in the lineup. He's been struggling with his shoulder. Other than that, it looks like they came out fairly clean with injuries. Secondly, whoever they play is going to be playing at a high level. Even this game today, the Bills were -1 or -2 on the turnover chart, and they won the game. It's really unusual to do that.
Yeah.
They can't mistake their way through these playoffs. They have to play at a higher level, much more efficient. If they can do that, they'll be ready for whatever happens. And then as it is, they got to trust their process, go through the week's practice, find out who they're playing, scout those guys, and get after them.
Yeah, I know Sean McDermott said something like whoever wants it most. And this team, I feel like with what they've been through, the adversity that they've really faced all season, they wouldn't let the adversity within this game get the best of them. And they want this. They know they are good. They know they have the veterans that they need. They know they have the leadership that they need. This is a team who should be able to turn it around and play more mistake-free football than what we saw today. I think a lot of us didn't think we'd see the turnovers that we saw or some of the missed opportunities from the offense, but the defense really helped out, and that's what you need in these games. When one side of the ball is struggling, you need that other side to pick you up, and thank God the defense did today.
It's easy to sit on this end of it and say, yeah, well, we should have known, and we probably should have. Miami Dolphins are a playoff team, and they were win at all costs with a third-string quarterback. Let's cut it loose and go.
And they went down to the wire
they
in
went
every
down to
game
the wire.
this season
They were
against
very
them.
tough to beat, even when the Bills were at their best, down in Week 3 and all that. They were a tough team for the Bills to match up with, as they are for most teams. But they also had the added example of, like today, there were a lot of times early in the game where they were going for it on 4th down, 4th and 5, 4th and 6, you know what I mean? They were all holes ballers. They were going zero coverage a ton today with a defensive backfield that wasn't healthy. Those teams like that are hard to beat, particularly when they got a head coach like Mike McDaniel who put them in the right mindset. They're a double-digit underdog. Nobody expected them to be able to win, and they came out and said, listen, let's go.
34-30.
34-31, let's go. You know, and they came out and scored it, and their defense played well. They knew they were going to hit us, nick the Bills for some big plays offensively, and they weren't able to get that done, but they did it defensively because of their mindset and because of their coach's dogged determination to make sure they knew that's how they were going to win. Those teams are hard to beat. It's not a surprise. Sitting on this end of it, it's easy to say that, but it's not a surprise that this game was a close one.
Yeah, 34-31, a 3-point win by the Buffalo Bills. It came down to the wire, and thank God they're moving on because I don't think any of us were ready for the season to end. Sean McDermott is 4-0 in home playoff games. Let's see if he can make it 5 next week. They're also 4-1 against the Dolphins in the playoffs as well. That's going to do it for us from here this afternoon. But if you guys want more highlights, more player sound, and more breakdown, you can catch us tonight at MSG at 11:30. Also, One Bills Live tomorrow, 12 to 3, featuring Steve Tasker and Chris Brown. They'll be breaking it down and taking calls all 3 hours. So make sure you tune into that. And also visit BuffaloBills.com for any post-game content as well. We will see you guys next week. Can't wait. Another playoff game here at Highmark Stadium for Steve Tasker. I'm Maddie Glab. Catch you next time.
All right, hey, that's the way to battle, man. That's a heck of a game, heck of a battle, man. You guys figured out how to win, right? How to win. We can take some valuable lessons.